The Wrath of Khan saved Star Trek, but the version you love? It almost didn't exist. The original ending left Spock dead permanently.
A great death scene, so he would never have to be Spock again.
And here's the wildest part. Kirk and Khan, the greatest rivalry in sci-fi history, never actually share a single scene. 14 facts even die-hard fans don't know. Let's start with the biggest one. 14. The original ending. Spock stayed dead. Forever. Let's start with the ending you were never meant to see changed. In Nicholas Meyer's original cut, Spock's death was final. No hopeful swell of music, no glowing new world. The film ended in genuine grief because Meyer believed a sacrifice only means something if it's permanent. And it goes back further. In an earlier version of the script, Spock didn't even die at the climax. He was killed off partway through the film, a shock exit in the style of Janet Leigh in Psycho, gone before the audience could brace for it. Then came the test screenings. Audiences were so devastated by Spock's death that the studio ordered the ending rebuilt over Meyer's open objections. The tone was lifted, Kirk's farewell reshaped around hope, and a brand new final shot was added. Spock's coffin resting gently on the living surface of the Genesis planet, filmed not on some alien soundstage, but in San Francisco's Golden Gate Park. The ending that made Spock's resurrection possible, and gave us 3 more films with the original crew, was never the director's ending. It was the audience's. The most famous death in science fiction was originally written in permanent ink, and the fans, without knowing it, wrote over it in pencil. 13. Kirk and Khan never share a single scene. Here's the fact that breaks people's brains. The greatest hero-villain rivalry in Star Trek history, Kirk versus Khan, the feud, the scream, the hatred, happens entirely over view screens and communicators. Not once in the entire film are they in the same room. And it goes deeper. Their scenes were filmed 4 months apart, and William Shatner and Ricardo Montalban never met on set at all. Montalban, who was shooting Fantasy Island at the same time and filmed his scenes around that schedule, said his biggest complaint about the whole production was exactly this. He had to deliver his venomous operatic threats to Kirk while acting opposite the script supervisor, who, in his words, sounded nothing like Bill Shatner. So the most personal grudge match in sci-fi history is actually 2 men, months apart, screaming at people who weren't there. That's not a flaw. That's a masterclass in editing and acting selling a relationship that physically never happened. 12. The script was written in 12 days, for free, by a man who had never seen Star Trek. The production had a mountain of failed script drafts, a release date, and a ticking clock. ILM told the producers that without a finished screenplay in 12 days, the visual effects could not be delivered in time. Enter director Nicholas Meyer, a man who, incredibly, had never seen an episode of Star Trek in his life. Meyer's solution was almost insultingly simple. He gathered the team, made a list of everything anyone liked from all the previous drafts, a character here, a scene there, a single line of dialogue, and announced he'd write a brand new screenplay stitching the best pieces together. When told there wasn't time to negotiate his writing deal, his answer became legend. Forget the deal, forget the credits, forget the money. He wrote the entire shooting script in 12 days, took no pay and no credit for it, and his name appears nowhere as a writer on the finished film. The most beloved Star Trek movie ever made was written for free by an outsider, as a favor to the schedule. 11. Gene Roddenberry's rejected sequel, Klingons Try to Kill JFK. Here's the fact that sounds fake, but isn't. After the motion picture underperformed with critics, Star Trek's own creator pitched his idea for the sequel. The Klingons travel back in time to prevent the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and the Enterprise crew must restore the timeline by making sure Kennedy dies. That was Gene Roddenberry's actual proposal for Star Trek II. Paramount passed, Hard. The studio blamed Roddenberry for the first film's bloated cost and endless rewrites, removed him from power, and, in Shatner's words, kicked him upstairs to the ceremonial title of executive consultant, a job with no real creative authority over his own universe. In his place, they installed TV producer Harve Bennett, who did something Roddenberry might never have done. He sat down and watched all 79 episodes of the original series, hunting for a loose thread, and found a genetically engineered prince abandoned on a dying planet in an episode called Space Seed. The father of Star Trek was locked out, and that exile accidentally produced the franchise's finest hour. 10. Spock's death leaked. So the movie weaponized the leak. Spock's death was supposed to be the shock of the decade. Instead, it leaked before filming even began. And many on the production, including producer Harve Bennett, suspected the leaker was Gene Roddenberry himself, furious about the decision. The fan reaction was volcanic. Protest letters, campaigns, and actual death threats sent to director Nicholas Meyer, continuing right up to the premiere. Meyer's response is one of the great judo moves in movie history. Instead of fighting the spoiler, he used it. He wrote a new opening, the Kobayashi Maru simulation, in which Spock dramatically dies in the first 5 minutes, before being revealed as perfectly fine. Audiences who walked in smugly knowing Spock dies watched him die immediately, felt cheated, relaxed, and were then emotionally undefended when the real death came at the end. The most famous fake-out in Star Trek exists because someone betrayed the secret, and the director decided to make the betrayal work for him. 9. Nimoy came back for the death. Then tried to undo it. Leonard Nimoy had no interest in returning after the motion picture. The pitch that changed his mind wasn't money or story. It was mortality. Harve Bennett lured him back with the promise of a spectacular exit, the greatest death scene ever filmed, a permanent, irrevocable end to Spock. Nimoy signed on to say goodbye. Then something inconvenient happened. He started enjoying himself. As the shoot went on, Nimoy began to suspect he might not be done with the pointed ears after all. So an escape hatch was quietly built into the film. Spock's mind meld with McCoy and that single murmured word. Remember, a resurrection seed planted in what was written as a funeral, and that coffin shot we talked about at number 14? Nimoy didn't even know it existed until later. 2 years on, Spock returned in The Search for Spock, directed by Leonard Nimoy. The man came back to die and left holding the keys to the franchise. 8. Montalban got trapped in the wrong character. And yes, the chest is real. When Ricardo Montalban agreed to return as Khan 15 years after Space Seed, he hit a problem nobody anticipated. He couldn't find Khan anymore. After years of playing the smooth, white-suited Mr. Rourke on Fantasy Island, Montalban admitted he was stuck in that character. His fix was humble and brilliant. He requested a tape of Space Seed from Paramount and watched his own 1967 performance over and over until, by the third or fourth viewing, he'd recaptured the essence of the Superman. And let's settle the other thing, because director Nicholas Meyer has been asked, by his own sarcastic count, more than 20,000 times. Khan's chest was not a prosthetic. That was all Montalban, a man in his early 60s in that kind of shape, doing Melville-quoting villainy with his shirt open. The crew did prank him for his day job, though. They surprised him on set with a little robot wearing the face of his Fantasy Island co-star, Hervé Villechaize. Quick censor sweep. If this deep dive is earning it, hit like and subscribe so we can keep unearthing the stories behind the classics. Back to the countdown, because next up, the sneaky trick this film's director used to get the performance of William Shatner's career. 7. Meyer's secret weapon against Shatner? Boredom. Nicholas Meyer, a first-time Star Trek director, faced a legendary problem: William Shatner's famously generous acting style. His solution was devious. Meyer simply made Shatner do take after take after take until the star got bored and annoyed and started delivering what he thought were lazy, half-hearted line readings to hint that Meyer should move on. Those lazy takes were exactly what Meyer wanted. Subdued, weary, human. Much of the restrained, melancholy Kirk you see in the film is Shatner trying to get his director to stop. But give Shatner his due, because here's the twin fact. The final exchange between Kirk and the dying Spock, the glass between them, the blocking, the words, was written by William Shatner himself, reportedly word for word. The same actor Meyer had to trick into subtlety authored the most devastating scene in the franchise. Both facts are true, and somehow both are perfectly Shatner. 6. The Chekov plot hole and the eel scene that made audiences faint. I never forget a face, Mr. Chekov. It's a chilling moment with one tiny problem. Khan and Chekov never met. Walter Koenig didn't join the cast until Star Trek's second season. Space Seed aired in season 1. Khan is recognizing a man who, on screen, did not exist yet. Koenig's own tongue-in-cheek theory, Chekov was already aboard as a lowly ensign and crossed paths with Khan somewhere off camera, a version of which fans have cheerfully canonized ever since. And what Khan does to Chekov gave the film its most notorious moment. For the close-up of the SETI eel crawling out of Chekov's ear, the crew built a giant replica of Koenig's ear. And, as a joke, placed an oversized Q-tip next to it on set. Audiences weren't laughing. The scene proved so revolting in previews that it was trimmed for theaters, and it still reportedly made viewers faint. A movie rated PG, by the way. The 80s were built different. 5. Khan's fearsome crew were Chippendale's dancers. Look at Khan's followers, those blonde, feathered hair, open-vested genetic supermen lounging around the Botany Bay like a rock band between tours. There's a reason they look like that. Several of Khan's crew were played by Chippendale's dancers. When your villains are genetically engineered to be physically perfect, apparently the casting call goes to the professionals whose entire job is being physically perfect. It's the kind of decision that sounds like a joke and works like a charm. Khan's people don't look like soldiers. They look like disciples, beautiful and strange and slightly unreal, which is exactly what a cult of superhumans stranded for 15 years should look like. Somewhere between exile and revenge, the deadliest crew in the galaxy could have moonlighted at a bachelorette party. 4. The Vulcan language was invented backwards early in the film. Spock and Saavik, Kirstie Alley in her film debut, have a private conversation in Vulcan. Here's how it was actually made. On set, Nimoy and Alley performed the scene entirely in English. Afterward, the sound team studied the footage and constructed fake Vulcan words engineered to match the actors' existing lip movements, and then had them dub the alien language back over themselves. Most invented movie languages are written first and performed second. Vulcan, in its first real spoken appearance, was reverse engineered from lip reading. It's linguistic special effects. A language built like a puzzle piece to fit a mouth that had already spoken. The next time you watch that scene, remember, you're not hearing Vulcan translated to English in subtitles. You're hearing English, disguised as Vulcan, hiding in plain sight. 3. The title was changed because of Star Wars. This movie went through 3 names, and the story is a perfect Hollywood farce. Nicholas Meyer wanted to call it The Undiscovered Country. From Hamlet's To Be or Not to Be soliloquy, where the phrase means death itself. A perfect title for a film about mortality. The studio said no and chose The Vengeance of Khan instead. One problem, over at Lucasfilm, the third Star Wars film was then titled Revenge of the Jedi, and Paramount didn't want their space movie's vengeance colliding with that revenge. So the title was changed again to The Wrath of Khan. The punchline? Lucasfilm then renamed their movie Return of the Jedi anyway, making the whole scramble pointless. And Meyer got the last laugh 9 years later. When he directed the final original cast film, Star Trek VI, he finally gave it the title he'd wanted all along, The Undiscovered Country. 2. The Genesis demo was the first all-CGI scene in film history, made by the future Pixar The Genesis device demonstration. That swooping, continuous shot of a dead planet blooming into a living world is a landmark hiding inside a briefing video. It's widely credited as the first entirely computer-generated sequence in a feature film in 1982, and the team that created it was the Lucasfilm Computer Graphics Division, working under ILM, a small group of digital pioneers who would later be spun off, sold to Steve Jobs, and renamed Pixar. That's right, the studio that would give the world Toy Story, Finding Nemo, and Up fired its first shot in a Star Trek movie, terraforming a fake planet for Admiral Kirk. 60 seconds of a 1982 space sequel quietly contains the birth certificate of computer-animated cinema. Every Pixar lamp hop traces its family tree back to Genesis, a device whose whole premise was creating new life. The writers couldn't have scripted a better metaphor if they'd tried. 1. The cheap, rushed B sequel that saved the franchise now zoom out, and the whole picture becomes clear. The motion picture cost around $44 million and nearly convinced Paramount to abandon Star Trek. The Wrath of Khan was made for roughly a quarter of that, about 11 to 12 million. Produced through the television division, recycling sets, costumes, effects footage, and even miniatures from the first film. It was, on paper, a cost-cutting exercise, a contractual obligation with pointy ears, and it became the franchise's salvation. It set a record for opening day box office, grossed 78 million domestically, and is routinely ranked the best Star Trek film ever made. Meyer's naval uniforms, his Horatio Hornblower in space swagger, and Horner's soaring score became the template every Trek film and series after it borrowed from. It birthed the fan law that only the even-numbered movies are good. And its deepest trick was literary. It made a space adventure out of Moby Dick, with Khan quoting Ahab's dying curse, from hell's heart stabbing at thee, as his final words. The lesson Hollywood still hasn't fully learned was sitting right there in 1982. The movie with a quarter of the money and all of the heart is the one that lives forever. Maybe that's why this film still hits harder than anything else in the franchise. Underneath the starships, The Wrath of Khan is about the one enemy Kirk never beat in the series: time. Those were 14 facts most fans have never heard about The Wrath of Khan. Which one got you? The ending where Spock stayed dead, or the future Pixar hiding inside the Genesis effect? Beam your answer into the comments. If this earned it, hit like, subscribe, and send it to the friend who still can't say Khan at normal volume. Until next time, remember